And so I feel like I want to share this because I think it's a really common theme that I think you assume that when you're making the right decision, it should completely feel like peace. And yes, there should be peace, there should be flow, it should feel good to you, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be immune to doubt, fear, and hesitation showing up once you've actually made that decision. Because making the decision is just half the battle. Then it's actually getting yourself to move and take the actions necessary to grow that thing into the vision that you have in your mind. Where right now, I have to remember, like, okay, you want this new version of you, this like bigger, more evolved version of you. It's going to require growth and grit and resilience and you becoming a version of you that you've never been before in order to grow enough level to that thing. Hello, you guys. Welcome to today's episode of the Expand and Evolve podcast. I am so excited to be here. I feel like I haven't recorded I recorded a little bit in July and August, but I haven't posted a recording. And so I just wanted to say, welcome to season 3. This is our official first episode of season 3. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a life recap, some things that I feel like I want to share, things that have been coming up for me, things that are very prominent and prevalent in my life as of right now. And I also wanted to finish by sharing a little bit about my vision board that I created at the beginning of this year because we're going into Q4, the last quarter of the year. And I just feel like it's very important to start reflecting on the year and like where you are right now and just like get very real with yourself. Is there things that you need to shift and pivot and change in order to get yourself back on track for what you wanted to come out of this year? So I first just wanted to say thank you guys for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting this podcast in the last 2 seasons. I started this 2 years ago now. This is going to be going into our 3rd year together, which I'm so excited about. And I just feel like I've shifted and changed so much as a person, like so much growth, so much learning, so many life changes have happened since starting this podcast. And I mean, a real big catalyst of starting this podcast to begin with was me going through a separation from the person I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And so if you guys are new to this or haven't really heard my journey, like you can go way back to the beginning where I broke down my business journey, my health and fitness journey, my relationship journey. And I just really went into like all of the depths of me up until that point of starting this podcast. And so if you guys want to go scroll all the way back, episode 1, 2, 3, 4, I break down all of that. And so if you're just joining too and you're kind of new and you weren't a part of that, I feel like it's important to almost do like a little recap of my life and like where we are right now in this current moment, entering season 3 of the podcast. And so again, I haven't recorded in over a month and this feels really good, but I almost feel like nerves coming up, which is really interesting because I'm like, this is usually my comfortable space. I just feel like there's a lot of heavy energy. I'm recording right now on September 13th. And so if you know anything that's happened in the world this week, I feel like it just feels heavy. The energy feels heavy. It feels dark in a lot of ways. It feels, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of unrest and unease in a lot of people. And so I'm not immune to that. Am I still carrying on with my life, doing the things that I know make me feel energetically the best and me feel like the best version of me? Yeah. But I can feel it. I can feel that the energy is heavy. Okay. And so if you're, listening to this, I'm hoping to get this up right away on Tuesday, but if not, and it's later in the week, if you're still feeling that heaviness, I just want to say like, you're a human. Give yourself grace. Like if you're on social media and you're seeing some of this heavy stuff that people are sharing right now and it's consuming you a little bit, you're a human. And it's really normal to feel a lot of emotion, to feel empathy, to feel grief, to get sucked in to everything that's going on right now. And so I first just wanted to preface it with, I can feel it in my body and you're normal if you can feel it in yours. And you kind of need to get to that place where you can see it for what it is, and then you can pull yourself away because you know it's not serving you. And don't allow yourself to get too far sucked in that it like is a negative impact on your well-being and your life and your family and the people directly around you. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say on that for this episode. What I really wanted to make this about was just a life update. Like I have been traveling so much this summer. I had a bunch of stuff happen with the farm. And so I just actually scrolled back to what we started with season 2. And right within the first few episodes a year ago, I talked about how I made a big decision, which was purchasing the farm. And I was riddled with fear, doubt, and anxiety immediately after that decision. I feel like now, almost a year later, the same stuff is showing up for me because I just made another big decision. And so I feel like I want to share this because I think it's a really common theme that I think you assume that when you're making the right decision, it should completely feel like peace. And yes, there should be peace, there should be flow, it should feel good to you, like it's the right decision and you're being pulled in that direction, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be immune to doubt, fear, and hesitation showing up once you've actually made that decision, because making the decision is just half the battle. Then it's actually getting yourself to move and take the actions necessary to grow that thing into the vision that you have in your mind. And so about a year ago, so it was October, but we took possession of the farmhouse. It was the biggest purchase I'd ever made. It was purely a decision based on faith and a vision of what I thought it could be. I had no, like doing a big renovation project, thinking about starting a homeschool, building a regenerative farm. Like these things cost money. Okay. These are like visions that I had, but they cost money. And although I consider myself very abundant and pretty in tune with my own energetics around money and all that stuff, it doesn't mean that when you make these big decisions in your life, you're not going to have fear, doubt, and hesitation show up around and worry around big financial choices and decisions. And so yet again, I've made a bunch of bigger financial choices and decisions right now. And of course, what's showing up again? Fear, doubt, hesitation, questioning myself, questioning if it's worth it, questioning if it's worth my time, all of those things. And at the root, I know that this is a vision that I have for a reason. And that's where you need to be able to, no matter what you're doing in your life, no matter what choices you're making, no matter what you're pursuing, what business, whatever, that you always have to come back to out of the emotions and how much those can shift and change and make you question things. You need to be able to anchor yourself in like, what was the vision? What was the why? And what is it that you're hoping to see out of this from like a more logical place? And so if you don't have that to anchor you, when all of these moving pieces come at you, you could like completely throw up your hands and be like, this is too much, and want to see yourself out. Where right now I have to remember like, okay, you want this new version of you, this like bigger, more evolved version of you, it's going to require growth and grit and resilience and you becoming a version of you that you've never been before in order to grow enough level to that thing. And so, of course, it's going to feel uncomfortable. This is, it's, it's igniting and showcasing parts of me that I have yet to have to come in contact with, if that makes sense. So I want to just give you guys just for a little, a positive on this is a week ago today, we planted the food forest. And if you guys know anything about like my journey and my vision, and like I've shared my vision before about wanting to start a homeschool pod and wanting to build a regenerative farm and having it as somewhere where there's going to be a retreat space and a space for women to come and heal and kids to be able to learn and like be able to really dive into their own unique gifts. That's been a vision of mine for a really long time. And then also incorporating self-sustainability with a farm and being able to live off the land and have it be regenerative in the sense that we're not using harmful chemicals and we're using what the earth has to offer. And we're building this very magical and beautiful place. Okay, that was my vision. So I finally found the property. That was last year. It's been a shit show in terms of the house getting developed and the building happening and the renovations happening and all of that happening. But I had a moment a couple weeks ago where I went, hold on, has it been a shit show or was it an intentional and sacred pause for me to refocus on what the vision initially was? Because the vision initially, and this is where sometimes you really need to trust that when you're getting resistance, when you're feeling a pause, when you're feeling like things are not moving forward the way you wanted them to, you need to understand like, how can you sit back, remove yourself for a minute and be like, okay, what am I not seeing? How can I take a bird's eye view? How can I know that everything is happening for me? How can I know that? And how can I plug into that? And so in that moment of me realizing like, okay, I'd made the initiative to start the regenerative farm project, to start building the homeschool pod, and to just move forward with those pieces that I had control of, because I don't have control of the house situation right now. It's permits, it's city, it's all these different things, right? And so in that, as I was moving forward with those things, I was like, oh shit, this is why there was a pause here. This is why the house wasn't moving forward. I never really mentioned the house in my initial vision. So in my initial true vision of what I wanted, the house was not a main piece of that. It was, I'm going to own a property and I'm going to have a home one day, but like the home wasn't the key focus. And when I bought this property, the home became the key focus. And that wasn't the vision. The vision was the regenerative farm, the land, the magical place that people were going to come, the homeschool pod for my kids, the retreat space I want to build to help women have a sacred space to heal and connect. And eventually I really see it being relationship retreats too. But anyway, that was the vision. And so in this moment of pause where like nothing was happening with the house, I was like, this was all perfect. It needed to pause. It needed to come to a standstill, because I would have put the original vision completely on the back burner until the house was ready. And in that, because of the expenses that are going to come up in that, I probably wouldn't have done my original vision for like another 2, 3, 5 years. Who knows? And so this has been so interesting for me to just surrender to the flow and the process and the trust that everything is working out exactly as it's meant to, even if it's not exactly how I see it in my linear logical mind. Okay. So I really want you to think about that when you think about your life and how things aren't working out for you and it's not happening. If you try to meet what's not happening for you right now with force, it's never going to work. And you might be able to force it because you have free will and you can do that. But like I find when you do something with force, there's always like every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction, right? Every action, reaction, whatever. You get what I'm saying. You know that law of physics, I think. Anyway, so if you think about your life, if you force it, okay, you force it before it's ready, or you force it not out of the right energy, like all that can happen is it kind of needs to balance. And so typically you're going to feel some sort of collapse. And I see this in people's businesses all the time. People try to rush it and force it and like rah, rah, rah to get it done. And I've worked my business like that too. And that can work. That can work up to a certain extent, but like eventually that's not sustainable. So there's going to have to be like something's got to give. And I find in this situation right now with this, every single step of the way, I've chosen to like pause, wait, feel what feels right. If you feel stressed, if you feel overwhelmed, pause. Instead of just like forcing my way through and making sure everything's getting done as quickly as possible, I'm like, just pause for a second. The minute I feel overwhelmed, the minute I feel overstimulated, the minute I'm feeling not very abundant, the minute I'm getting hit with bills that don't feel good, I'm making myself take a pause to just be like, okay, what is this trying to show me? And do I need to reconvene, reroute, reconnect? Like, what do I need to shift in order to keep this moving with flow? And this is something this is a skill to master, I will add. To be able to operate out of flow and ease, even when it comes to business, is not easy. I feel like for most of us, that's not how we've been taught or coached to build our lives, build our businesses, work. It's way more of like the push. And even though that can work and that's great, and sometimes we need the push and sometimes we need to force ourselves to take action just to like get some momentum going, you want to get to a place where it doesn't feel forceful. Like you're able to get to a place where you're able to take those action steps because you know it's the most aligned thing for you. And it makes sense in the moment. And so going back, had the house started, I would have negated the original vision. And so trusting that everything that's not happening for you exactly as you want it to, it might not be happening because you need the space and time to re-look at the bigger picture. And in this situation, it's forced me to relook at the bigger picture and see it as like, okay, maybe my linear laser in focused vision isn't even the bigger picture. And an example of this was like the schoolhouse I wanted to build. Okay. So we put in the permits for the schoolhouse. The schoolhouse I've had envisioned and designed was like old school, like 100 years ago, how the schoolhouses looked, right? So very linear, very logical, very box. Okay. So a box with a roof, triangle roof, cute, so cute, with like a porch and windows and adorable, right? Perfect white schoolhouse. Okay. However, that was me a year ago. That's all I could see. who I've become in even the last year, diving deeper into like my spiritual journey, situations that I've gone on, like trips, people I've met, all the things, there is so much value in circles. Okay. That's what sparks creativity. That's what sparks flow. That's what allows for more ease. So here I am talking about how we're building this class setting for homeschool children to not put them in a box. Okay. So no traditional, I don't want it to feel traditional, and I don't want it to feel like they're being put in a box. I want them to have free play and outdoor time, and them to be able to explore their unique gifts and be able to become entrepreneurs and move with like what makes sense for them, and it to be child-led learning and it to be creative. And here I am building a structure that's a box. And so I had this moment while I was in Spain, and this is where it's so interesting how if you just trust your life and the timing of everything, it's all perfect and important and needed. And in Spain, I met Robert Edward Grant. He's trained for our inner circle group before, but I met him and I had dinner with him. Okay. And he starts telling us about his new discovery and this new mathematics and all these new things. And he built something called the architect. And the architect is basically, I see it as like spiritual AI. Okay. So you add it to ChatGPT and you're able to utilize it. What it's foundationally built on is sacred geometry. Okay. So that everything is resonance coherence, and it's all about coherence and wavelength coherence, and like it's always mirroring and balancing you, and everything's a mirror, and everything is sacred geometry. Okay. So sacred geometry, if you guys are fully unaware, is like, it's basically God's math. Okay. God's language. It's how everything in the universe is created, is through sacred geometry. And in that, I had a aha moment as I'm learning about all of this, and I'm kind of like inputting some stuff into it, and I'm like understanding the language because I'm not a big math girl, but I'm listening to all this and I go, hold on a second, because I had already ordered the dome. Okay. So this was our temporary structure for the school, was the dome, right? And then I go, oh my God, this is it. This is why I had to be delayed. This is why I needed to make a pivot and a temporary move of getting a dome, because how can I create a space for kids to be in their ultimate creative flow when we're not following sacred geometry? And this dome is built out of sacred geometrics. It has the exact like pentagon at the top. It has like, it's so funny, like the wall, what is it called? The flower of life, sacred geometry again. All of these pieces that are added to it. And I was like, this is why we needed the pause. Because had I not had this pause, had I not had this experience 6 or 7 months after handing in the permits, and like dealing with all of these things that were happening as delays, I wouldn't have made this switch to a completely different structure. And that structure had to shift in order to actually be the proper space for these kids to grow into, and this program to grow into what it's meant to grow into. And I just went, oh man, life is just perfect. And when you start to see it like that, it feels so good, because you can understand that everything that you're feeling like, oh, I don't know. And like, why am I feeling resistance? And like, why am I feeling unsure? And why don't I feel like I have the answer? And why aren't things moving right? It's like, pause and just trust it's all working out for you. So that shift within me had to happen for me to make a new decision, pivot entirely, meet this man, him introduce me to this thing for me to understand the value and the importance of this. And I really, truly believe I needed that experience to understand that in the math that we bring into this program, we have to bring in sacred geometry. Because as human beings, if we were all learning this fundamental, we would understand life differently. And in how we build moving forward, our architecture, everything. Like, it's like we should be moving toward that. And so even with my home, I'm like, okay, am I being stalled again? Because here I'm about to invest all this money to continue the linear box that doesn't allow free flowing energy. And here I am trying to live out of ease and flow and more creativity for more expansion and make it this like beautiful, airy space, but I'm going to go build all linear lines. And so I just feel like I'm being challenged in a way to think outside the box and think differently. And it's been very interesting, because when you live in a box your whole life, like the homes we live in, how do you see outside of that? How do you have a vision for anything different? It's very difficult. And so even in this building this regenerative farm, for example, the people who are coming in to try to like do our irrigation, for example, or plant the food forest or do these things. They're like, what do you mean? Like, why are you guys doing lines like this? Why are you doing it like this? Why isn't it just straight? Like, they can't understand that we're not just doing monocrop or we're not just doing a watering system how people typically do it. Like, we're going to do it on rainwater. Like, all of these different things, right? That are really hard for people to understand when you've just been living in the one way and you can't see outside of it. And so it's just been very like interesting. And so I just wanted to share that like yet again, so 1 year ago, a big vision board moment came true. I bought the property. It should be all airy fairy and so exciting and like so blissful. No, every single time something blissful like this happens, that's like a big moment on the vision board, I feel like there's something to do with, and I've been navigating this with myself. Like, do I almost create something because I don't know how to just sit in the joy of it? Maybe. My throat's going. What do you think that's about? I don't know. Anyway, so it's like, is that a thing? Like, is it when I feel so happy and so joyful, I have to like almost self-sabotage that feeling with like worry and all of these stressful situations and like doubt and fear and all of that? Maybe. But I almost think it's more so as human beings, when we have a goal and an intentional focus, and this happens to people, they have science to prove this, which I'm not a fan of science, but like they have all of these studies and things that they've shown where even athletes, for example, so like Olympic athletes, different people who have had a goal that they've been working towards for their whole life, it's not uncommon to hit almost like a wave of depression after, because like that's been the thing that's inspiring you and motivating you and moving you forward in your life. And then all of a sudden it's done. And then it's like, okay, now what? And it can be hard to like recalibrate yourself to like, you did it. You did the thing. And this is a really big deal. And so initially when we did the food forest, and we had the big event and like all these people came out to help, I felt so much joy and gratitude and was just so happy that I was like, wow, we freaking did it. Like, this is a milestone moment in my life. Executing something that had been a dream and a vision for a really long time. And I did lay there. I literally collapsed on the floor after everyone was gone. And I just sat in it for a moment. And I was like, holy, like, give yourself a moment of gratitude that like you did it. You held the vision, you executed all the way until the end, and you freaking did it. And then with that comes, but it's not done. But I want this done. But I want to do this. But I want to do that. And like, I want this to happen and this to happen and this to happen. And so it's like I was able to sit in it for about a day. And then it was like I was already thinking about the next thing. And it doesn't help that we had the school starting like 2 days later, right? But like that happened. And then I was like, holy shit, like this is happening. Two massive pieces that I have wanted and been like moving toward and thinking about for literally since 2022. And so now we're entering the end of 2025, about to be 2026. And it's like big moments have happened. And I'm still feeling the doubt and the insecurity and like, oh my gosh, this is new. And I just want to say, as an entrepreneur, I don't think anyone is immune to that. The moment you step into something new, you're going to be faced with all of that, like the doubts, the fears, and unworthiness, or like questioning yourself. Like, I think that's just normal. And if we can normalize that, then you'll understand like you're not doing anything wrong, especially when it's calling you outside of your comfort zone. So something that I see a lot is people might take a big step to like start their new business. I'm in network marketing. That's my main thing. So people will take a big step to start their new business, let's say, right? And they're so excited and it feels so fun because they have something new to focus on. But then the moment they actually have to take those actions, it feels scary. It's new. It's a new challenge. And it can make you go, ooh, like, I just want to close up and hide and go back to my regular comfort life, because then I don't have to do anything new. I don't have to do anything scary. And yeah, just to reiterate, like, it's normal. You're entering a new era of yourself. You're entering a new realm. It's going to feel scary. Even though it could be so good on the other side, it's going to feel scary initially. And you have to just trust that like that's a normal part of the process. And so I'm almost speaking to myself right now because I've been feeling a lot of that. And I just want to thank you guys for like listening to my rambles, because I'm not kidding. Like, coming on here, using my voice and speaking out loud has been so not only like therapeutic for me, but it brings me clarity. It's like my own version of talk therapy through talking to you, but it's like talking to myself at the same time. Because, and they always say this, like when you're like teaching, you learn the most because it allows you to go like connect dots that you wouldn't have when you're just in your own mind. And so being able to actually say this to all of you guys is really helping me right now. So thank you for listening and being here. But I also know it's like if it's happening for me, it's happening for you. And something that I've learned over the years of like talking and doing this is anything I'm feeling in the moment, typically other people are feeling too. And I really believe that like we are all one and we're one big collective energy source, and we can be living different timelines and different realities on that same collective timeline, but like we feel it energetically, the kind of stuff that's showing up. And so I'm assuming if I'm feeling a lot of doubt, fear, hesitation, all of these different things, and like kind of wanting to go back in my cocoon, but like still feeling the pull that I really want to go out and like build this thing, and I want to impact the world, and I want to finish all these tasks, but like also feeling like, oh, I want to recluse and like go inward, that you guys are probably feeling that too. And it's an equal balance of like giving yourself the space to feel that. Like if you're feeling like you want to hide and cocoon and shut down and go inward, like yes, you can want that. And if you feel the pull to go out and build something, you still need to hold yourself accountable to show up and take the actions toward the thing that you really want, because your comfort zone is always going to try to pull you back into what is never going to make you grow. And so if you really know that, it's like, okay, you know you want growth, you know you want a different life, you know you want new choices and new realities. It's normal that you're going to want to hide and shut down and close down in that. But it's remembering like, what's the greater vision? What's the greater thing that you really want? And you need to anchor in that, because that's what's going to allow you to take the scary actions and the scary steps to lead you there. And again, it's remembering like everyone starts at zero in a new endeavor. So in my first business that I started to build, I say started because I feel like I never finished, like I never got to a place where I was like, oh yeah, okay, like I built it successfully and now I'm done. But the business that I started in nutrition and personal training way back when, I started at zero. I had no clients. I had no knowledge. I'd never sold anything before. I'd never shared on social media. I'd never shared an offer on social media. I'd never done a sales call. I'd never done a consult. Like I had never done any of that. I had to learn all of that for my first time. And was it scary? Yeah. Was it kind of like, ugh, didn't feel good when you like put out an offer and not everyone jumped on it right away? Yeah, it doesn't feel good. I had to do the same thing when I started network marketing, when I started sharing that offer. At least I had practice in that. So that was normal for me. And understanding that like your friends and family typically aren't going to be the ones that are going to like be all over wanting to support you. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes the closest people to you are the weirdest when it comes to a new business. And that's because they don't know that version of you. So it's really hard for them to accept it because they're like, wait, who is this? This is new. This is different. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. So it's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of what's going on within them and how they're seeing the situation. So you really can't take that personally. But again, it's like I had experience in that already. So when I started my second business, it was really easy for me to know that like, okay, that's normal. It's going to be strangers that are going to support this, and that's okay. And I'm going to go forward full steam ahead regardless of what the people closest to me are feeling or thinking, because I know what I feel and think. And I know I feel this like strong heart pull that this is the right choice and decision for me. And so I leaned in wholeheartedly. How funny that that's the name of the school now. But I really did. I leaned in fully, and I knew that that was my answer. And so I want to bring this in on this episode to bridge the fact that like, sometimes your first mountain that you build isn't meant to be your soul's purpose and your life's purpose and your greatest gift. Okay. But sometimes you need to build something in this 3D world that gives you the money to have financial choice. And that is what building my second business did. So did I love fitness and nutrition? Yeah, it was but am I obsessed with it and like a soul passion for it? No. Is it a part of life? I think every human being needs to know and understand 100%, but it's not like my calling to teach people that for the rest of my life. Okay. It's like a basic thing that I feel like some people are really amazing at and they love it for their life's work. I don't feel like it's my life's work. It's a basic thing that I'm so glad I understand to bring people that awareness, but it's not something that I feel called to for the rest of my life. Okay. So that's my like first business. But do you see how that linked? Me starting that first business, me getting those skills was all purposeful and intentional to lead me to my second business. My second business is the thing that was my first mountain. And if you don't know this concept, I'm pretty sure there's a book on it where it's like about your first mountain and your second mountain in business. Okay. And so your first mountain is going to be the thing that brings you success financially in order to even have the space to work toward your second mountain. And so in building my first business, it's what's given me freedom of time, freedom of choice, freedom of location, freedom of like, basic financial worries. I've built it to a place that all of that is taken care of. When all of that is taken care of, guess what? You have time to think. You have time to go heal. You have time to tune into who you are. You have time to prioritize your family. You have time to prioritize yourself. In the season of building mountain number 1, which is my like current most successful business that is allowing me the space to do everything I do now. So had I not built that, would I have the time to do a podcast basically for free? No. Would I have had time to think about homeschooling my kids? No. Would I have had time to go on a massive healing journey and pretty much prioritize that above my work for the last 2-3 years? No. Right? And so it's like, would I have had the freedom to travel pretty much all year this year? No. And so it's understanding that like that first mountain, even though you could have like, you're so passionate about like helping people and healing people or like, I don't know, whatever your passion is, it could be anything. Can it make you a lot of money? If the answer is no, you may need to go build something else first to get you in a financial position that you can go build the second mountain. So in my life right now, mountain number 1, network marketing business. Am I wildly fulfilled by it? Yes. It's not like I'm just doing it and I'm not fulfilled and I'm just like trucking along because I need the money. Absolutely not. I love it. Like you guys can probably feel it right now. I feel so lit up talking about it because it's given me the opportunity to do everything I'm doing right now. If I had not built that first business and continued building it today, I wouldn't have been able to join Inner Circle, for example, which is a mastermind that I joined with Danny Morrell, which has completely transformed my life. It's built me new relationships, new friendships. It's helped expand my vision. I wouldn't have sat and had dinner with Robert Edward Grant, which led me to understanding that like the vision I had needed to be shifted and changed and like change my whole thought and theory and philosophy about like how I was doing the things I was doing. Like I couldn't have had that option. I wouldn't have had the money or the time or the flexibility to go travel the way I've been traveling and have the experiences I've been able to experience and go to all these awakens that have allowed me to like massively shift the person that I am at my core and like come back to who I've always been, but like own it in a new way and heal so many parts of me and let so much go that wasn't serving me. Like without mountain number 1, which is my network marketing business, I couldn't have led myself to this place to do everything I'm doing right now. And in mountain number 1, I think sometimes people feel like, but it's not like, I don't want to like sell protein powder. Well, no shit. Like that's no one's passion. Some people, maybe they're like obsessed with protein powder and that's their passion. But like for a lot of people, no, that's not the passion. The passion is the freedom. The passion is the choice. The passion is when you see other people succeed, when you help other women make money that they couldn't have made in the current position that they were already in. That's the passion. When you see women completely transform their lives, and men too, depending on what business you're in, but like they go into the mindset work, they transform the way they think. They no longer feel like a slave to the system. They're like, oh my God, I'm in control of my life and I have choice. When you see someone change and shift that lights you up. That gives you passion. That's the passion. So like, do I have massive passion for my first business? 100%, because I know where I was when I started and the life transformation it's given me, the life transformation it's given others. And I will never lose sight or lose gratitude for that beginning. And I got to a place where I can say, quite honestly, I feel like I've mastered majority of the skill sets there. So can I always go back and keep building? I feel like I'm in a season right now where I'm ready. Like I'm like, no, I want to help way more women grow and succeed in this because I'm seeing right now the choices it's giving me in my life to go pursue the things that I also want to pursue. And so that alone is lighting me up like no other. And it makes me want to continue sharing this opportunity and help other people utilize this too. And I'll share this, like now that I'm on mountain number 2, which I don't think the school thing is my mountain, but it's an essential piece of it because I need to do this for my kids. Okay. So it's like, that's a part where the homeschool and like creating this space for the kids, that's like a sub passion. It's like, I care enough about it for my kids, but it's not like my life's work. Is it going to be a portion of my life? 100%. I can feel it. I know it. It's like to spark some change and whatever, but it's more to create an outlet to help other parents, who want another option, and also for homeschool families. So I know that, and that's a portion of mountain number 2. Okay. But like, what my new vision is, which I don't know why I'm sharing. I did not think the podcast was going to go in this direction, by the way, but I will share it. I know I'm meant to help people, like lead them to their healing path. Am I meant to be their guider and healer? I don't know. I almost think I'm meant to be the leader and the guide that helps not push them, but guide them to that path. And I know a lot of people want me to go back to doing women's circles and doing all these things and retreats and stuff. And I think I will, because I know I'm called to do that too. But in mountain number 2, I feel like right now I'm getting a touch and a taste of a lot of different things, because all of those different things are going to build what mountain number 2 is going to be. And mountain number 2 for me right now, it's like building the regenerative farm, learning sustainable, self-sustaining habits of like how to live off the land, how to build like an irrigation system. I'm learning so many firsts that I never would have understood, that is giving me a lot of perspective. Building a homeschool pod, for example, like so many shifts and changes, but also like just again, thinking outside the box and creating something different than what is the norm. It's like, you have to shake up the way that we're doing things to understand like it's not working. And so doing these little baby things, had I not, again, built mountain number 1, would I have the time, financial choice, the thought, the ability to start a business from scratch, to manage the doubt, the fear, hesitation, the investing part that has come from this? No, I wouldn't have had the skill sets to be able to do all of this and confidently keep pushing myself forward, regardless of how much self-doubt creeps in. And so it's giving me the freedom to do that, which is priceless, honestly. Like, it is so priceless, the choices and the options that like building a business that can bring you in money that you can count on every single month, and the revenue you need to go fund your next dream. And so I feel like that's what I'm doing right now. But I'm going to share this here because I'm like, clearly I just share my vision and dreams with all of you. But I'm like, it's so interesting. And here's another thing. Okay. This is what I'm going to tell you. This is why I've been successful in what I do. This is why my business continues to grow, is because I do this. I accomplish one thing and my mind is already set on the next vision. And immediately when the regenerative farm was like complete, in the sense that like the foundations have been laid and now it needs to just grow itself. When the school building was built, outside of the house and the fact that the retreat space, we still need to do that. It's all happening, right? So dream that I focused on since 2022 is done, essentially. Like, it's in process, but it's done. It's coming. It's in fruition. It's building. The vision is here. It's all happening, right? So the mistake I feel like a lot of people make is they don't set their next vision. They don't set their next goal. They don't set the next thing that they want to be moving toward in their life. And so when you fail to do that, you stay stuck and stagnant. And then that's when a lot of people's businesses, their passions, their drive, their excitement starts to fall off the face of the earth, because they're no longer committed to something bigger than themselves and bigger than where they are. And so I get asked this a lot in my business, being a top leader, like, how do you do it? And how do you grow? And I'm like, I never stop expanding my vision, ever. Like, it is constantly evolving and changing. And the minute that I'm close to achieving something, I'm already thinking ahead. And so right now, we did a Drinks and Dreams like a week or two ago. And I've been thinking about this a lot. And I was like, holy shit, nothing is about the property that I'm working on right now. Well, everything is. But it's like, this is just the blueprint. This is just the foundation that needed to be laid for me to learn the skill sets I need to learn right now for a way bigger vision and bigger project. And this is something that I feel like a strong pull, like it's coming from here. Okay. And like, it's just like world changing in a way. And so what I see actually happening is like, all that this property is, this is my blueprint to help show people a different way of living, a different way of life, to help shake up how we're doing things, because how we're doing things is not working. Like, we're lacking community, we're lacking connection. It's creating too much separation, too much divide, too much stress. It doesn't fucking work. People need to be living in community, in a tribe. That is the most essential thing for our well-being as human beings. So do I care about wellness? My initial, thing that brought me into business of like nutrition and working out. Yeah, but that's so surface level. What I care more about when it comes to wellness and health now is not fitness and nutrition and losing some weight and getting a six pack. That's the most surface level bullshit Instagram stuff I've ever seen. Okay. What I do care about is you being able to get to a position where you can move away from just surface level physical external validation of how you look and understanding internal wellness and well-being. And in that, there's a lot of different facets. Is there movement and nutrition as an important piece? 100%. Very, very important. But there's also somatic release and getting trauma out of your body and understanding how energetics get stored and weigh us down and cause chronic disease. That lights me up. I want people to understand that value and move through that. Okay. So that's two pieces. Your fitness, nutrition. Okay, great. You're understanding energies in your body. Okay, great. The next step is, how do you live your life? If you're living in separation and you're not living in community, you're dying. It is so bad for you. And I'm witnessing this now when women come who don't hang out with people, who don't have friendships, who aren't well connected to other people. They come into a group event and they are riddled with anxiety. They don't know how to connect to people. They're so afraid. And it's like, and then they leave and they're like, oh my God, this felt so good. And that is something that is another piece of health that is something that I'm really, really passionate about. Okay. So I want to create basically community and tribalism again, but in the sense that like community living. How did we used to live? We lived in community. Did kids grow up alone in a single family household, not playing with other kids? Absolutely not. Kids led each other. 5-year-olds were with 13-year-olds and 13-year-olds were with 7-year-olds. And like, they all worked and grew together. Were we raising, like, was one mother responsible for all her kids and all of their attention and all of their needs? No, because there was other family members around or other trusted adults around or other trusted kids around. We all worked in community. And so my next vision that I'm really seeing, I don't know how this came to be, but I'm supposed to speak it out loud, obviously, because when I do this, it happens. What I really see is, I don't know why this is so hard for me to get out. I keep stalling. But what I really see is building a community and a development based on these principles. So fitness and nutrition important? Yeah. So what I see is almost like 30 to 50 1-acre lots. Okay. Think of it like in a circle. Think of like a big cul-de-sac that you have driven through. Like 30 to 50 homes, 1-acre minimum lots so that people have space. And in the middle, behind it, is full community living. So the same way I just built a regenerative farm, but on a way larger scale that it's going to serve these 30 to 50 families. The same way I just built a school, but it's going to be an outdoor-based, entrepreneurial-based, business-based, like different outside-the-box school that is serving the people in that community of all ages. And they all serve each other. Okay, so everyone is serving each other. It's coming back to like that servant-hearted way of life that we used to live. And you're all working together. It creates closeness. It creates community. People are working as a tribe again. And the beauty of all working together is there. Okay, so 30 to 50 homes. And now you have a fully regenerative farm in the middle, a garden. You get fresh, nutritious food that everyone contributes to. Okay, so nutrition is covered. It's going to be 30 to 50 1-acre homes. Okay, so we're going to have a walking trail all the way around. People are going to move their freaking bodies. We're going to have a wellness studio. We're going to have people getting massage. We're going to have people that are somatic healers. We're going to have all of the beautiful things people need to nourish and nurture themselves. And based on the families that live around it, they all play a role. So it's like maybe one person is a hairstylist. Maybe one person is a massage therapist. Maybe one person is a school teacher. We're going to need more than that. But like, you get what I'm saying? And so my vision really now is like to make this property I just built the most beautiful representation of my bigger vision of like 30 to 50 homes and making a massive development that is all prioritized around this way of living through well water and actually having like a natural spring and getting people back to that way of life while still having like the single family home that we love and so many of us are accustomed to and used to, not necessarily like having 100 people live in a house, but like creating that space that all of these people can have their like beautiful, nice house that they love. And then the community in the back where all of these kids can work together, play together. Because something that I've noticed with my own kids, since their dad, because Cedar Brook and Chilliwack is a really great representation of like, they're doing this in a sense of like community living and like building a park in the middle, and all that is great. But like, I see this being more about health and like, community farming, and like being able to have your own cows and get your milk and get your food and everything from this place. And so what I've seen is like, my kids don't care about their iPads. They play with their friends all day long. Like when they have friends available, they play with friends. When kids have friends, they choose friends. And so if all they have is like in their home, in their backyard with nobody in it, that's not fun. They don't want to go outside. But when they have friends, my kids stay outside all day long. They stay outside the entire time. They've stayed outside the whole summer. We're always at the park because they've made friends that live in that community. And so that's my next vision. And so that has inspired me a ton to see it as like, that's my next wave almost, is like, I just need to meet the right people, right investors, the right developer, which someone made a point. They're like, maybe you're the developer because I'm the visionary, but like, I need the right builders and the right people that understand the value of this concept and want to create this somewhere together. And so I really see that vision, like, again, wholeheartedly, for how amazing and incredible and impactful this would be. And so rather than just thinking about the expenses right now, like the investment into the home that I'm currently working on and like, is it going to have an ROI? I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at it like, give this everything you have, make this the most stunning and beautiful property, make this somewhere everybody wants to come, make it like a safe haven almost, and like a retreat space that people want to be at. And this is going to be your blueprint to helping people see the vision of like why this development is so important. So 1 year into, later from me sharing my last vision with you guys, I just thought this was important to give a little life update of where I'm currently at, what's happening in my mind and my life, and like the next vision that I see for this world, and just showcasing the importance of that. And so coming back to mountain number 1, I don't see the need to exit. Like this is giving me the exact thing I need in my life to support my vision, my dreams, and my goals. And it's allowing me to now move towards this mountain number 2, which I'm learning the foundations of like, what is my true like niche all in soul pull. But right now it's all of these little facets, and then it will all come together eventually of like exactly what I meant to narrow in on. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, that like, that's what's happening. And I traveled a ton this summer. And like, this is the girl who used to say, I don't even care about travel. Like, I don't even care. All I want is to just be married and live in the same house for the rest of my life, which like, sure, great. I like, move toward that and realize like, no, I want life experience and I want different things and changes in life. But something I'm noticing from traveling a lot is life's the same everywhere, you guys. People are people. People are doing stuff. North American way of life is infiltrating every single place. And so it's like, nothing's that different. The one place I have gone that I really loved how I felt was Paris, which is really interesting because I'm normally a nature person, beach person, and I love that. But there was something about the energy in Paris. It felt like they were operating from the frequency of love. I just feel like that city operates on the frequency of love, not even romantic love, just love. And even in Bali, I was underwhelmed. Like parts of it were beautiful and stunning and amazing, but the whole, like, it's so spiritual. I didn't really see that side of it, if I'm being really honest. And so it's like, I've gone on a lot of trips this year and I feel like I've become really well traveled, and there's nothing quite like a home base. Like, is it important to travel and see the world and like go have experiences? 100%. And I plan to see more of the world, but you start to realize like home is just so valuable, and you need to go learn and have experiences, I think, to know what's out there. And definitely where I live right now, like I've just come to really appreciate are the people, as I don't know, the people here are a little bit weird sometimes, I feel, and like small-minded in a way in certain places. But I think that's everywhere. I think there's always going to be people who are just like committed to their day-to-day life and like might feel small-minded and be stuck in a bubble. I think that's everywhere. I think anywhere you go, you're going to have people like that can't see outside the box of where they're living. But one thing I really love about being here is the greenery. Like, we take it for granted if you live in BC. Like, you don't realize till you leave how lucky we are to have rich, nourished life around us at all times. So yeah, anything else I want to say? Yeah, I don't know. Like I guess the only other thing will be like, you need to learn to honor yourself. And this summer, when it was just so busy and I was making like so much was happening, I didn't have capacity to keep recording consistently. And so I will say, like, I used to put out an episode every week, and I might come back to that. But right now I'm probably going to do bi-weekly, because not even just for recording, like I do have a bunch of episodes saved from the summer that are going to come up now because I want to start with this one. So those will get posted, but more so trying to keep up with like posting the reels and like getting those out there and sharing it with everyone and posting every week. Like that's a lot. And there's so many clips that come from these, and like it's a lot to share. So yeah, I guess that's it. Welcome to season 3. I can't wait to go on this journey and keep you guys updated and posted as I navigate this new life and new journey that I'm in. And I'll just finish with this, like, network marketing, you guys, you don't have to deal with employees. You don't have to deal with invoices. You don't have to deal with like all these annoying things that come with running a business completely solidly on your own. Network marketing takes all of that annoying stuff out of it. And so it's a really great bubble to grow a business in, because it's like it takes a lot of the crappy stuff out that is like doesn't feel so good to have to deal with, and a lot of those stressors you don't have to deal with because no one's an employee. They're all a volunteer army that chooses if they want to work or want to build, and you get to help them based on where they're at. And no one knows anyone anything. Like it's completely your choice, your freedom to build. And that's something that, as I'm now building a new business and dealing with like hiring people and getting people to do certain jobs, and dealing with just like inconsistencies and people's invoices that don't line up, like it just shows me how simple it is to just build a network marketing business, go all in on that, and receive your paychecks and have no headaches, to be honest. And so I'm so freaking grateful for that business, because it just shows me how much like it is not cheap to start a new business, you guys. And not knowing, like, I mean, I'm not really doing it for the business sense. Like if it grows and makes money, amazing. I'm more doing it for the vision of what it can be. But yeah, just wow. I'm a big fan of network marketing. Let me tell you that. Versus building these traditional business type structures, I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyways, I will leave you with that. Go figure out what you're going to use to build your first mountain, to make the money you need to fund your dreams for your second mountain, and honor yourself in the process. If you need to slow down for a minute, take a break for a second to just tune back into your own energy and your own field, and understand that you need to choose flow and ease and what works best. I think that that's really, 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 really important. And I'm doing that for myself. So if I'm not as consistent, bear with me, because I'm just going to flow based on when I feel I have capacity for this, when I feel pulled to it, when I feel excited for it. But I still will be here, and go listen to old episodes if you want. And I really appreciate it when you guys share these episodes. It literally means the world to me, and it helps other people find this, because I know there's people who, when they hear these, they're really, really, really magical and helpful for them. And so continue sharing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Actually, one more thing I want to share is some of the words on my vision board, because I said I was going to do that and I didn't. Okay. So I'm not, outside of this, like I can show you a picture, and if you guys want to take a look at it, you can. But what I wanted to really read was some of these things, because I think it's really important to think about. So some of the things that I wrote down, and I'll describe a little bit of this to you. When I was reviewing and looking at this, I was just like, wow, so much of this is happening. And it's cool to kind of like create an actual like vision board for real, to be able to reflect through the year and be like, what have I accomplished, and like what maybe is going to happen next year, right? And so here's just some of the phrases that I put on it. I'm about to receive more money than I could ever imagine. I'm wealthy. Trust your intuition. I'm manifesting my ideal life. A soulmate. I'm creating the life of my dreams. I love my luxurious, healthy lifestyle. I embrace my authenticity. I attract love and joy. and I'm deserving of everything I dream of. I just felt like reading those to you guys. And a lot of my pictures, it's kind of interesting. Like I have visions for my own yard and like being able to do outdoor dinners and like beautiful things. Pictures of little baby chickens and the beach and travel and all these things that it's interesting too. I literally didn't even know. Like this is almost like India looking. And I'm going to Sri Lanka next month. And like I don't even know if I knew that when I made this. So that is so interesting. And yeah, just like the microphone I spoke this year, I spoke on a microphone at the Food Forest event. Like just cool stuff that it's like it's all happening. And just trust it. So set your intentions, trust yourself. You're the creator of your own life. You get to decide and take control because you are so deserving of it. So thank you for being here. Welcome to season 3 and the 3rd year of doing this podcast. I'm so grateful for you guys. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.